Hello, guys. Today I'm gonna talk about Green Variations, the anime from Netflix, done by Wit Studio, and with collaboration, if I remember correctly, Clamp. So those 6 episodes of this anime are each episode is like telling the fairy tale which most people know and love, and those are cult classics. But you need to remember that Japanese like to twist a little bit of those stories. They put a little bit of twist into those stories. So first we have a Cinderella, which is like the first story where we get to see more of the character building for Nasty, two sisters, and Cinderella being a manipulative psychopath. So yeah, later on we have like Hansel and Gretel, Rat Piper, Elves and a Shoemaker, and Musicians of Bremen. Musicians of Bremen is not that well known to most people because it's a German fairy tale about donkey, chicken, cat, and dog wanting to become musicians, and they scared the burglars or bandits which stayed in the tavern for too long by essentially building from themselves a pyramid and scaring them off. So yeah, the Musicians of Bremen is like a very short German fairy tale about like how to that being together is important, and counting on one another and surviving in that way is like the important. But in this anime, the Musicians of Bremen are like four girls which are totally badass, and they fight against this like bandits, gang of bandits. So yeah, it's a full-on action, beautifully animated, and the most ripped girl is also a donkey. So yeah, yeah, it's all fun and games. But in the later reimaginations of those fairy tales, there is also a little bit of change, or a little bit of twist to all those morals in fairy tales. So the studio wit expands upon those fairy tales with additional like messages for those who already knew those fairy tales, the source material. So, like in Hansel and Gretel, there is a witch, but the witch won't fatten them up, and she don't want to eat them, but is rather like administrator of the spaceships, and it's a very Japanese thing to do, to make like anime about Hansel and Gretel and then add on top some sci-fi stuff. So yeah, and by the way, the witch in the Hansel and Gretel, even though she looks old, she wears a nice slick outfit. And yeah, uh, she her design is, even though she is old, she has much grace to her persona. So yeah, and I would love to talk about much more in detail about this anime, but sadly, you can check it out on your own. This series is, of course, on Netflix. the first season. I think it will be the second season, but I don't know the full details. But you know, there are 6 episodes. Each episode is about different fairy tale: Cinderella, Rat Piper, Hansel and Gretel, musicians of Bremen, and elves and shoemaker. Oh, and one more thing: elves and shoemaker is this story is imagined as an a writer struggling to make a story, which he is facing a burnout, and he meets a girl, ginger hair haired girl, who is like an elf or a muse, but to be honest, it can be all in his head, and he starts to write an awesome stories, but soon after he will face again a burnout, and he even talks to himself: was it really him, was it really him? And the this episode treats hits hard, especially if you are aspiring writer, and I am like self-proclaimed writer. I write creepypastas for Polish content creators. But you know, this episode about Shoemaker reimagined as a writer who struggles to write a story, it really delves deep into pride of an artist, of downfall, of upbringings, and it poses the question: will you what what is it that you really write? What is real? When you write, is this really you who writes this, or is this something else in your brain who which makes you write it? And most writers well most writers maybe do get it, but there is like this sense when you are like brimming with imagination and brimming with you know, ideas for your story. Sometimes when you, before you start to type, you don't know what to do, and when you see the white sheet, even if in the word program, you sit there and don't know what to write. But if you are advanced enough, you will start to write from seemingly random scenery, and you will just flow with it and you don't even know if you are writing, you are making this up, or is this someone or something in your head. And this episode like hits me hard because I know the feeling. I faced a couple of times some burnouts, but they weren't like everlasting or something so huge or major. But I can relate to this experience, and every time I like uh, write some creepypasta dumb story, I sometimes I'm asking myself, why does it, why I am writing this, or how is it possible that this is what I created? So yeah, it's this is very strange feeling, which only like writers or self-proclaimed writers like myself can relate, really. And you know, it's like, is those are really your own stories, or something in your head is taken over your mind and write for you, just like that? Because it's a really strange feeling when you have enough skill as a writer, and you will start to write like at 101 story, then it's like a very different feeling to it. It's really different. Like it's hard to describe it, but you don't feel it like yourself. And yeah, it did this feeling gets you. And sometimes even if you write and you don't really you know this instinctively, but you are not aware of it. And when you read what you wrote again, you have this premonition. Oh, what? That's why he is doing what he is doing. I didn't thought of that. I thought of this instinctively almost. And yeah, this episode about struggling artist, struggling writer, is it really hits home. It really hits home, and every one who tried to made even a little story knows how it is, knows a little bit of it. So yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes. The episodes about musicians of Bremen, like chicken, cat, dog, and donkey. It's also good and a little bit action packed. And Hansel and Gretel episodes, I really adore the outfit and design of the witch, which is like mm, a very elegant and not as cannibal as she seemed. So yeah, that's all I have to say. It's not a review, mind you. It's just a rambling of mine. And let's sniff around, check it out, other reviews, other videos which are legitimate reviews, and go Grim Variations a watch. It's really a joyride. Maybe you will be displeased with though this what which studio did to source material, but those changes they add up to the story and make those stories much more rich with message which they contain. So uh, for like even Cinderella is about manipulation and being like fake. And in the end, those two nasty sisters, which are like a little brats, but not really, they face a very grim future ahead of themselves. So it's not like one-sided that Cinderella was abused. No, no. In this version, Cinderella was a mastermind behind all the machinations. So yeah, and I think the Japanese viewers will get the most of those changes, because this those episodes are like direct, like representations of troubles which Japan is facing. Like I don't know, I cannot put my finger on it, but it seems to me that these six episodes are most more understandable and suitable for Japanese viewer than any other, mostly because they seem to reflect the struggles of their society right now. And it's like it's all fun and dandy, but the problems themselves are like sometimes very abstract. sometimes very abstract, like the struggling of a writer. It's like not many people will get it, but some of them will. The Little Red Riding Hood. This is like the American Psycho. This story is more or less like American Psycho. The Hansel and Gretel is like, it's almost like the view with this sci-fi element. It's like preparing children for adult lives. That's the message of Hansel and Gretel. And Rat the piper who sings on flute and makes the children move away from the village, is also has this message, has this message of like uh, getting out to the world and facing the realities instead of being cooped up in the village in the middle of nowhere and stayed there forever. So those are like messages which are not banal or stupid. There is a deep to them. But if someone was expecting to, having like direct, re, re, direct adaptation of the source material, he won't find it here. But the musicians of Bremen, like, this is not a fairy tale which even in Poland is known, but it's known in Germany, and I know this fairy tale only because I heard about it in the in the lesson of German language back in school. So it's like it's very short fairy tale, and yeah, that's all I have to say for now. So we will see each other maybe later in the few months. So see ya.